NyynewsTV. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NyynewsTV, you're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 323 of the NyynewsTV podcast. We're live on NyynewsTV. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm with SGR.
What up?
Unfortunately, Chris cannot join us this evening, and he's going to miss a banger of a show because we got a lot to talk about as we are 1 week away from Fred, 2 weeks away from from our season preview, and then 3 weeks away from actually having a show where we talk about real Yankee baseball. It's going to be here before you know it, just like April 1st is going to be here before you know it, live in the Audi Club. There are a handful of tickets remaining for NyynewsTV Day 2023. Come hang out with the fellas. Come hang out with the entire NyynewsTV crew. Unfortunately, it won't be Carlos Rodon's Yankee debut. We will get to that later in the show. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to see Domingo Germán take the ball. Who knows? But you're coming to chill with us. You're coming to have a good time and watch some Yankee baseball. But yes, a little dampering on the event with the Carlos Rodon injury news. SGR, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, a little upset with that because that was such a cool element to it, that getting to see Rodon his first Yankee start and doing it against his former team, the team that was kind of the talk of the offseason with the Yankees. That was a nice little storyline, but still going to be an awesome time no matter what. We're going to have a good time. Go Yanks.
Okay.
Okay.
So before we get into what we need to get into, I need to have you clarify this for me. So you remember when Derek Jeter was dating his current wife, they put his greatest hits. They had that diamond of all the actresses that he dated.
Yes.
Okay, so we know his hit list. I was watching a documentary on China. Do you know who China is?
Oh, okay. The country or the wrestler?
Wrestler.
Okay. Familiar.
In that documentary, there was a very interesting picture that surfaced. And it was one with China, Carson Daly.
Okay.
And number 2, Derek Jeter.
Little daily dose? Little daily double?
Did Derek Jeter sleep with China? I need to know this.
Okay, did Derek Jeter have relations with China? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Derek Jeter's dating diamond. It's got so who's his wife now? Is
Anna Davis.
All right, so she's on the mound. Okay. Minka Kelly catching, Jordana Brewster.
Minka Kelly was the girl he was dating for 3,000.
Solid
they thought
outfield.
She was the one. They thought she was the one, but
Mariah Carey in left field, Jessica Alba in center, and Jessica Biel in right field.
So you got all the Jessicas.
And then of course your superstar. Where do you put your star player? Shortstop, Scarlett Johansson.
Joe, huh?
Yeah, it's got a nice little depth chart over there. Jeez.
I do like her current husband, Colin Jost. He's fun.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not bad.
I know how woke SNL is, but I like those two guys together. Him and Chad.
Yeah, that's actually one of the only parts that I find myself laughing if I see any clips. All right, Christian, your camera has gone. You are off the screen. So I don't know what that's going to do here. I could hear you. I hear you perfectly, but I can't see you. And I like to see your face when we talk. But for right now, I'm not seeing anything.
There we are.
No, all right, you're back. You're back.
We're probably going to be experiencing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'll let you know.
Going to be experiencing some technical difficulties this evening. It seems to happen whenever there's inclement weather. 2 weeks ago, it snowed,
You're right.
and the show was a shit show because of that. Last week, the weather was fine, and we had no issues. And now today, it's raining, and my camera seems to be acting up. So,
Yeah, you're glitching and shit now, but your audio seems to be cool. But you do look like a robot, kind of.
you
right
hear
now.
me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. So let's
As
just
long as
let's
you hear,
just
as long as you hear me, we'll get through the show perfectly
we'll
fine.
get through. You're twitching a little bit, but that's okay. We'll
Uh,
get through it. Let's just move on, move past it. If it comes up, if your camera goes off, I'll let you know again.
Right, a little cracky.
Okay.
So, we need to know this, Ryan. Did Derek Jeter have relations with China?
I mean, so there is the picture of
And
them.
if he ran the train with Carson Daly, who went first?
Well, he is number 2.
He's number 2.
But come on, he's getting first. He's getting over Carson Daly.
So,
Staying
onto
up
more
late with Carson Daly. I think he's got a late night talk show. That guy, like 1 a.m.
for him.
Yeah, good guy.
I had no idea what he was up to after I stopped watching TRL.
Yeah, I hear you.
But what the Yankees are up to is trying to plug holes, not China's holes, but
Oh my
holes.
God.
R.I.P. China.
Oh right.
Also, R.I.P. Joe Pepitone, Yankee.
Yeah.
Yankee from the down period right before George bought the team passed away today. So R.I.P. Joe Pepitone.
Okay. R.I.B. Okay.
But Yankees got bit hard by the injury bug this past week. We alluded to it earlier. Carlos Rodon, forearm, I forget what they called it, forearm strain. We'll talk about Carlos Rodon later on in the show. Also, Lou Trevino, Tommy Kahnle is going to start the friggin' year on the IL. Also, so is Harrison Bader. So the Yankees are just doing a real bang up job of getting you excited for the season to start because they're dropping like flies. They haven't done so yet, but they really need to just wrap Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge in bubble wrap until March 30th, because if anything happens to either one of those two guys, I'm really not sure what we're going to do this year.
Because where would this team, if you just look at last season, where would this team have been without Aaron Judge in the lineup every day?
Well, they probably wouldn't have made the postseason. Well, they probably would have still been a wild card team. I don't think they won the AL East without Aaron Judge.
Right. And
he was a 10, 11 WAR player. They won by 7 games, so you can do the math.
Yeah, true. And Lou Trevino, that's an elbow injury, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a couple months for him. They think it's probably going to be about a month for Tommy Red Bull. The Yankees are hopeful for Rodon for some point in April, but the thing that scares you about Rodon is he's already had Tommy John surgery, and these forearm strains usually are Tommy John precursors. So, Bader's got an oblique. It's going to be about 6 weeks for Bader. So the Yankees we've been talking about this a lot, and the Yankees, before all these injuries, the Yankees needed an outfielder, right? We all knew it. We all know that the experiments of Judge and left or IKF or Aaron Hicks, we didn't want it. We didn't need it. And now it becomes even more pressing that the guy that you thought was going to be your starting center fielder is going to miss at least 6 weeks. So obliques are tricky, man. So you don't know if that 6 weeks is going to turn into 8 to 10 weeks. It's just, that's how obliques are.
Yeah, they linger too, those injuries, and he's a speed guy. That could be bad recipe for Bader this year.
Well, you know what? There's a guy who is 20 years old, and he is the Martian, who is tearing the cover off the ball in spring training right now. And if I can get his stats up here, Jasson Dominguez is he's killing it right now. There's no other way to say it. I want to try to find his stats if I can get him here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be hitting in the 400s, right?
I believe so. Did he play yesterday?
Somewhere around there. I do have it up here. He's got in 21 at bats, he's 9 for 21, hitting 429 and on base of 500, 4 home runs, 9 ribbies. Yeah, that's 4 home runs and 21 at bats, 4 dingies.
His OPS is 1.50.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Now, talked about this last week. Does spring training matter? And we said, yes, for guys like Volpe, who's hitting well over 300 right now himself and showing some pop, and Dominguez, it does matter because you're trying to make the team. You got to let the Yankees know that you're ready. Both these guys are doing a good job of doing that, right? Now, where do the Yankees go? Now you keep hearing this nonsense about IKF is going to play the outfield. IKF is going to play the outfield. Yesterday, I saw Aaron Hicks stare at another fucking wall yesterday.
What was that, man? What was that?
Aaron Hicks in midseason form is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, any longtime listener of this show knows not that I don't care for prospects, but I'm in the mindset now, and at least in the last year or so, that if you're not going to help the Yankees win a World Series this season, you're tradable, right? That's
Sure.
why I've been always advocating to trade Jasson Dominguez. That's why, same thing with Volpe. I didn't think these guys were going to be on this team at least this year, and that's why I'm saying you got to trade these guys, right? Now, there's an opening. There's actually now, if you want to be realistic, the Yankees have 2 openings in the outfield. They have center field and they have left field. They've always had left field, but now with the Bader injury, center field is open. It's quite simple. And here's the thing, right? Everybody says the same thing about Dominguez. He doesn't read good routes. He's not the greatest outfielder right now. Hey, you can hide a guy in right field at Yankee Stadium. It's not a big field to play. If you don't run a good route there, the ball's probably over your head anyway. In the seats, it's only 314. We all know this. What's wrong with sticking Jasson Dominguez out in right field for right now and seeing if he's ready on the major league level? Judge goes to center, and you dick around in left field for right now. I hate putting in that type of terms, but that's kind of what you need to do. You can't go Judge Hicks IKF or
no.
Like, you can't do something like that. Bader is injured. You want to get this fan base excited? We've been hearing Jasson Dominguez's name for 4 years now. This is his first legitimate shot in spring training with the big club. He's hitting over 400. And I don't want to hear, well, this guy is pitching off to he's going to be bagging groceries in a week. I don't care. He could very well be hitting 210 against these guys.
And sorry, but don't forget too, though, that it's different this year because it does look like they are giving him that test to make it to the major. So they're giving him at bats in the earlier stages of the game. So he is facing MLB proven pitchers more so this year than ever before in the Yankee organization. So just throwing that out there,
Oh, and I've tried to throw cold water on Jasson Dominguez with that one home run that he hit, and I would, but here's the thing now. We have an absolute desperate need for an outfielder. We had a desperate need, or now it's an absolute desperate need where you need an outfielder. The Yankees aren't acquiring anybody. It doesn't look that way. The season's going to start in 2 weeks? It doesn't look like the Yankees are acquiring anybody. You just hear them wanting to do the same dumb things they want to do all the time, and that's move guys out of position. If IKF, who is a Gold Glove infielder, could not play shortstop, what makes you think he's going to be able to play the outfield?
Fair point.
There is no reason. There is no legitimate reason you can give me that Jasson Dominguez should not come up and be in the lineup on March 30th for the New York Yankees. Try it. I have a rebuttal and a definite answer in my argument for anybody that wants to try to argue that point. You have no legitimate answer for why Jasson Dominguez should not be on the opening day roster. And this is coming from me, who told you a couple weeks ago that he probably should start the season in the minor leagues. Now, with Bader's injury, your things have changed, okay? You're allowed to reevaluate based on circumstances.
Absolutely.
And Bader's injury has changed the circumstances for the Yankees. You can't sit there and tell me that you want the Yankees to experiment with IKF in the outfield. You can't tell me that you want Aaron Hicks to get more playing time than he would have had if Bader was healthy. You have no answer for anything that I can counter argue why Jasson Dominguez should be on this team on opening day.
Right, because now they're, like you said before all of this happened, maybe you were hesitant to call him up, but now the pros clearly outweigh the cons in calling him up and having him on the opening day roster.
Every single prospect in baseball lost a year to COVID. I don't want to hear that excuse about that's why you can't call him up. Oh, everybody lost a year to COVID. That's not an excuse for Jasson Dominguez. Oh, he only had 12 at-bats in Double-A or whatever it was. I don't care. You're arguing. If you're arguing against Jasson Dominguez, you're arguing for IKF and Aaron Hicks. Think about that for a second. That is what you're advocating for. You're advocating for Hicks and IKF in the outfield. That's what you want if you don't want Jasson Dominguez.
Right, and you want like a Willie Calhoun type as well.
I don't mind as much, but you know what the Yankees are going to do. The Yankees have no connection to Willie Calhoun. The Yankees love these guys. They love Aaron Hicks. Right. Why? I don't know why. I don't know why they continue to let themselves be embarrassed by Aaron Hicks. I don't know why they continue to want to try to find something for IKF to do. Today is the 1-year anniversary of that trade for Wash Donaldson and IKF. It's over. The trade, you lost the trade, and Gary Sanchez can't even get a major league job, and you lost the trade. Move on. No reason why Jasson Dominguez should not be in this lineup on opening day. And if he hits 120, who cares? Who cares?
See, yeah, that's the only thing there is if you're trying to find the pros and cons, I guess, or why you would keep him down would be to develop defensively, to get better defensively, and then you have that risk if you call him up and he starts very slow, you'll have a fan base down his back, and then you'll also be getting rid of his trade value. Other than those few things, I don't see how the cons outweigh the pros here.
Oh, and that's a solid point, but I'm going to counter argue it because
sure, counter away.
This is what I kept getting. Yo, you're going to ruin his development. He plays for the fucking Yankees. They don't develop prospects. What are you worried about?
And also, too, it's like...
Judge, I'm sorry, Ryan. No, outside of Aaron Judge, name the guy since 2016 that's come up here and lived up to his potential. Name him. Go ahead. I'll wait. I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying.
No, of course.
In the chat, name him. Who is he?
I mean, it was him. It was Sanchez.
Bust. Gary Sanchez is an official bust.
Was Austin
now.
Also that time?
Tyler Austin was, yeah. And look, he's in Korea.
He's in Japan,
now. Korea, Japan, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Somewhere over.
Where's Greg Bird?
Right.
Closest argument is Luis Severino. And what's the problem with Luis Severino? He can't stay healthy. Maybe that's not so much on the Yankees' development of him, but there's a track record here now. If you're arguing now you'll ruin his development, look at the Yankees' track record since 2016. Who have they developed outside of Aaron Judge? And they've had enough opportunity to develop guys. You can't tell me they've all been bad. The Yankees have had a hand in ruining these guys. You can't tell me they haven't.
You just can't at this point because there's too much data now, and that's all we care about is the data of everything. Well, it's prospect after prospect that continuously doesn't pan out for this franchise.
Look at the guys that get traded.
Yeah,
guys have turned into stars. There's something fundamentally wrong with the Yankees farm system. It amazes me Cashman is able to get anything done based on on his track record of calling guys up and what happens to the guys that he trades.
Yeah, and I could see that Montas trade really even just like it's not even at its peak of how bad that trade was because I could see JP Sears being one of those guys that finds it.
And we talked about this before Rodon got hurt. Wouldn't the Yankees love to have JP Sears right now?
Yeah, I mean, look at that trade. You got Montas, who most likely he's going to miss a lot of time, if not the whole year. And now Trevino, an elbow injury. That's as bad as it gets.
But think about this. if you're so worried, if he comes up here and he hits a $120 and that ruins his career, he was never that good to begin with. My camera went out.
Yeah, it did. It did. Right. And he's never that good enough to begin with. And if that's not going to be enough for him to, bounce back if he does start slow, then, then why is your nickname the Martian if you can't handle, adversity? So that's another. It's just like the kid, you got to give him that chance to show what he's got. And now's the best time to do it.
If he had a spring where he hit 250 and, it just looked very fine, don't call him up.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling you something right now. Kid's got an OPS of 1,500.
Right.
Telling you something.
And look
he wants to play.
He wants to play. Look at what happened with a guy like Miguel Andujar, who was being sent down, and he was, he kind of built this resentment toward the franchise. If you don't have this guy starting, if he's not on the opening day roster with the amount of injuries this team has, and with the people that aren't injured that are on this roster ahead of him, think of how that the potential resentment in that whole situation.
And somebody, because this was my whole crusade this weekend was back in Jasson Dominguez making this team. I must have tweeted about it a dozen times, and somebody said, "Well, the Yankees are worried about his service time." Why are you worried about his service time? That should be the last thing on a fan's mind is this guy's service time. His service time doesn't mean shit to me.
No,
the Yankees could find themselves in a hole in April that they might not dig out of. If they're going to be dealing with these injuries all year long, you have an opportunity here to reward somebody for a strong spring training, a highly touted prospect that fans have heard about for 40 years. Oh, Juan Soto didn't even had more experience at double. I don't care. You cannot give me one good reason why Dominguez should not be on this team on opening day. You don't have one. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to turn it around right now. I'm going to tell you right now, the options, if you don't bring up Dominguez, or IKF and Hickson, do you really want that? Be realistic. If you're somebody that says to me, "Oh, you can't bring him up. He's too young. He's not ready." Okay, that means you want to watch Hickson, IKF. Go ahead. Right. Tell me I'm lying right now.
No, because that's the alternative. So we have our first super chat of the night from Rasan Thompson, our boy.
What's up, bro?
My brothers. If I'm a prospect, I want to be traded because the Yankees always have someone blocking them from being called up. Their depth chart is horrible.
Show your kids that you have faith in them, that they can come here, play with the big club in spring, and be rewarded for this.
Right.
What are you afraid of? You're not going to ruin his development, I can promise you. Because, again, if he gets ruined by having a bad couple of weeks here, he was never that good to begin with.
Exactly.
And you're not talking about the Atlanta Braves that call people up and they become stars. You're not talking about even the Blue Jays or the Rays that know what they're doing in terms of calling up their prospects. This is the Yankees. Their track record sucks with this. They're going to ruin him one way or the other. So why not let's get him up here now? This way we don't have to look at Aaron Hicks go.
Yeah.
As a ball falls in front of him. Again.
What are you doing?
Me a break, guys. All I heard, I was the biggest advocate of trading Jasson Dominguez, and all I heard, you can't trade him. He's the Martian. He's going to be Mickey Mantle and Mike Trout.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be this. He's going to be that. Now I want him. I want him here. I want him in the lineup opening day. And you're like, well, you got to ruin him. He can't. He's too young. Shut up. Seriously, stop. You can't have it both ways. Either he's the Martian and he's ready to go and let's fucking do this, or get rid of him. Because honestly, I have no room for guys that are not going to help this team this year. The goal is to win the World Series in 2023. Has that changed? At least to me, it hasn't.
Nope. Camera's gone. No, that should be the goal. That seems to be, that should be the goal every single year. And they say it's the goal every single year with their words, but their actions don't really seem to hold that up.
So, look, you have nothing. You can't come out. You want to have a debate about things? Fine, let's have a debate. Come at me with something about why Dominguez should be in the minor leagues to start the year. I want to hear it. I want somebody to counter my arguments. You can't, because first of all, my card on the table, boom, where you lose is because I tell you right off the bat, boom, you want IKF and Hicks to play then.
Uh-huh.
How do you counter that argument?
The only way I could maybe counter it is if you give those two a chance, and then if they are really terrible, then you have your spark plug in Jasson Dominguez to come up and give some resurgence. Even that, I don't hold that as a strong argument.
What has Aaron Hicks done to deserve to be on this team, let
No.
alone be
The
given an
opposite
opportunity like
of
this?
anything deserving. He's done nothing.
And I hate railing on IKF like this because I don't think he's done anything wrong. He's doing what he's asked to do. It's not his fault he's not a shortstop. It's not his fault he's not an outfielder. It's what the Yankees want him to do. The problem is, and as I talked about it last week, the security blanket's got to go. The Yankees are going to try this dumb shit with IKF because he's here. Not an outfielder. I'm telling you.
Right. But you never know. I mean, Mookie Betts wasn't an outfielder, but they shoved him in right field. The Red Sox did. And, now you wouldn't think he was an infielder. But again, I don't want that to be the way that this season starts. This is a team that is aspiring for a championship shouldn't start the year like that when they don't have to, because they have the pieces underneath and in their prospects. And you talked about showing faith to the player himself, showing faith to Jasson Dominguez. How about showing some faith to this fan base that you're going to actually back up your words?
We want to win a World Series. Okay. Well, how do you think you're going to accomplish that better with Jasson Dominguez or Aaron Hicks? Honestly.
Yeah, it's really not even a question. It's the service time. Who cares about 6 years from now when you're a Yankee fan? You really want to care about the service time?
This up because I have a friend that's a Rams fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Rams last year and this year, they're in utter shambles right now because they sold out to win the Super Bowl. And guess what? They did. And does anybody care?
I mean, they just won, so at least they won. They're not the Browns.
It's all about winning, and you worry about the consequences later. Sometimes you got to sell your soul to win. I'm not saying that's what that would be for Dominguez, but we can get 7 years and say, who cares? Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what the alternatives are. I'm not asking you I'm not saying, bench Bader for him. No, when Bader comes back, Bader's the center fielder. And if Dominguez is playing well, you find a spot for him. If that means bye-bye, Aaron Hicks, that's what that means. You have to make tough decisions if you're trying to win a World Series. The Yankees don't want to get tough. That's what the problem is. We've always talked about this. They're weak-minded in terms of how they act in the front office because Brian Cashman doesn't make the tough decisions. And it trickles down because he hired Aaron Boone, who's not a tough guy, and a team is weak on the field. They get bullied. And he doesn't even have to tell you that he gets bullied. You could just see it. The Astros walked into the ALCS knowing that they had that shit in the back of their pocket. They didn't even have to really try. The Yankees were beat. They're not tough. You get a guy like Josh Donaldson in here. What's the one thing about him that you wanted? He's going to have a little edge, a little attitude. He was fucking neutered.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Carlos Rodon. Now he's hurt. I mean, what's going to happen to him? You going to cut his balls off too? One of the things that was so attractive about him, that bulldog, that alpha dog mentality, the fuck you, this is my mound type of shit.
I don't know, man. It's just it's very frustrating because it's another start to the season and it's another kind of repeat of where this franchise has been the last couple of years.
Well, we ran a poll, all right, and we wanted to get the fans' opinion on this. Should Jasson Dominguez be on the opening day roster? 74% said that Jasson Dominguez should be on the opening day roster for the New York Yankees.
Now, was this a scientific poll?
A little bit short of scientific, but I think we did have enough.
Close enough.
Well, it was close enough. So let's read a couple of responses here and see See here, right? All
All
right.
right, let's do it.
This is from Nick Barr. She says, I wish I could say yes. Nick, you can't say yes. Okay? You can say yes.
You can.
I'm going to say no only because it's not a need to rush him. I still think he's up here before the trade deadline, especially with the injury. Now, if the Bader injury is 3 to 4 months, then yes, Jasson should get the call as long as he's hitting at AAA. If you're calling him up at the trade deadline anyway, right? Instead of making a trade, you're going to call up Jasson Dominguez. This is a popular thing that I keep hearing, right? You're going to call him up anyway. What is those 200 at bats going to make a difference? 150, 200 at bats. What are they going to make a difference? Whether it's I would rather than be up here.
Right.
You have a need here. The fuck cares what happens in Scranton or Somerset? You need those 200 at bats here. And if he needs to go, if he's that bad up here, send him down. You're not, I promise you, you're not going to ruin him. And if he is ruined from it, hey, you know what? It's just another Yankee failure. Because I can guarantee you that he won't be, if he's ruined by a bad 3 or 4 weeks here, he was never going to be a superstar here.
Right. You know, that's a part of being a Yankee, you know. It's that mental fortitude. If you don't have it, then
Cody
you aren't going to
House.
work out.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Cody
that's all.
House says main reason is watch Hicks from yesterday.
That's it. That really is the main reason. Watch what we have out there right now.
Brian Rickles says he just turned 20 between the pandemic and age. He's barely played any pro ball. I don't care. COVID is not an excuse anymore. To me, COVID's not an excuse anymore. Unless you have it and you're really sick that you can't get out of bed, I don't want to hear anybody utter the word COVID anymore, especially in terms of baseball player development. I get it. He's an international signing. He's a raw talent. They don't have the type of youth leagues that we do have here in America. He's a raw kid. But I'm telling you, based on this spring that I've seen and the fact that Yankees have this dire need in the outfield, who cares about the fact that he doesn't have X amount of bats at AA? Let him get it done here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
Arguing to play more Aaron Hicks and to have the Yankees try to reinvent the wheel with IKF in the outfield. That's what you're arguing for.
That's so true.
Barbecue Baseball 62 says he's never even played at AAA. Spring training stats are meaningless. Unless you are a kid like Jasson Dominguez and you're trying to show everybody that you are for real, which he's doing. They're meaningless for Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge goes bats literally 0.10 in spring training, do you think he's going to have a bad year now?
No, and then you could say the opposite,
like
right? And yeah, it absolutely means something. And you could say, well, do you think Jasson Dominguez is gonna, hit 400 and get on base every other at bat? And no, that's not realistic either. But there is a lot of promise in what he has shown so far in this spring.
Let's say he hits 240 and shows a little pop. Wouldn't you rather have that and have him get acclimated to being a major league ball player than
Absolutely
have Aaron Hicks kind of do the same thing, hit 240 with a little bit of pop? What's more valuable at that point?
Staring right at our face here, Christian. It's the move that is the right one to make right now.
Because Mr. No Days Off says, let the kids play. They can't be any worse than Hicks, Donaldson, and IKF.
Yeah. It can't be worse. It could be a lot better, too. It could be a lot better. Think of it that way.
About this, Aaron Hicks's OPS last year was 646. 646.
Yeah, not good. Not a good OPS to have.
Not that I want it. I take a 646 OPS out of Jasson Dominguez. You want to know why? Because he's getting real experience, and it's just going to make him better. We know what Aaron Hicks' ceiling is. He's a bum. He's terrible. He has no heart in him. You know that last year when he proclaimed himself he's going to be a 30-30 guy, and he said, "Oh, well, we're gonna show everybody we're gonna have a little fuck you in us." He has nothing inside of him. Nothing.
No, and now you see it. You see it in his face out there. He's totally like looks defeated. He's given up,
And
going through the
leave.
motions. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the problem is, Ryan, is that the Yankees. I know the Yankees see the same thing we see. They don't do anything about it. You on this team and still start games in the postseason.
Say that again. You kind of cut off.
On this team and still start games in the postseason.
And thought it cut off again, but don't. You could do what on this team?
For me,
Yeah, kind of.
what about now? Do I sound
Yeah,
you hear me
yeah.
better?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I said you can quit on this team
Got it.
and still start games in the postseason.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's the Yankees now. That's what they are. Because Aaron Hicks, remember, Aaron Hicks hurt himself in the postseason. It's the only reason why he stopped playing.
Right. Man, dude. I mean, and it's like I could see if they were short staffed. I could see if they were forced to play this guy out there. But when you have the prospects and the talent in the organization, then it's time to take a risk. Stop playing it so safe.
That's right, bro. Now is the time to take the risk.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the time to take the risk right now.
Right. And at least if it doesn't work out, you could say, well, hey, at least they tried something. Which is every year it doesn't work out and they don't try to fix it.
That's all I want. I want them to try something different. Don't get and by trying something different doesn't mean putting IKF in the outfield. It's reward this kid for having a killer spring and let's see what he's got. Maybe you might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe he is the Martian and he doesn't need AAA. He doesn't need 100 at bats in AA. He's that guy. Maybe he is. But I want to take the risk and find out when these are my alternatives.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the Yankees are going to be looking for alternatives in the starting rotation now. We knew that with Frankie Montas's shoulder injury, and now, unfortunately, as we alluded to earlier, Carlos Rodon's going to be missing the start of the year. The Yankees are hopeful that I'll be back in April, but I'm saying, because I've watched this team, best case scenario is June 1st for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that too. And looking at the possible, replacements that are out there on the market, I wasn't really sure if they were even considering the guy, but he's now out of contention to join the team. Trevor Bauer. Did you see that news? He has signed internationally. He'll be playing in Japan. So no Bauer outage at the stadium for the Yankees. Not that I don't think that was a real possibility to begin with, but not really much. As slim pickings out there.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This camera's pissing me off. I might just leave it off, to be honest with you, for right now.
Right.
The Yankees needed depth in this rotation before Carlos Rodon got hurt. Now your two depth pieces, who were supposed to be 6 and 7, are now 4 and 5.
Right.
Oh, I mean, the Yankees are going to have to, Matt Crooks, does that sound right? That a name that sounds right. He was a guy. I can't remember his name, but I was watching the game the other day, and the Yankees were trying to stretch him out because they were trying to explain to us that he might be an option. No, go get somebody.
Matt Crook.
Matt Crook. All right?
Yeah.
Go get somebody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Go do your job, Brian. And I don't want this is not me coming on here now and going to rip Brian Cashman for acquiring yet another injured pitcher, because we all want a Carlos Rodon. But eventually, you have to come to the conclusion that there's something wrong with Brian Cashman. There's something wrong with this guy, karmically or cosmically or whatever. Whatever words you want to use.
He's not one with the universe here. He's got to get his Zen back.
Remember the story of King Midas? Everything that he touched turned to gold.
Yes.
He's the anti King Midas when it comes to pitching. Everything he touches turns to shit. You have 3 pitchers on the IL right now that he acquired. 4, actually. I'm sorry. 4 pitchers on the IL right now that he acquired from last trade deadline into this offseason. 4 of them.
So wait, I got Rodon, Montas, Trevino,
and Tommy Red Bull.
right, and Canely. Yes. Damn,
Again,
man.
not knocking the Canely signing. We all like having Tommy Canely back, but now he's got the Cashman stink on him.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, he already had his Tommy John.
Or did Rodon, but
Yeah, shit.
there's no way to logically connect the dots here other than there's something bigger at play here, whether you believe in that type of stuff or not. That Brian Cashman is any pitcher that Brian Cashman acquires is just automatically. Actually, there's 5, Brian. I forgot about one because Scott Efros is out with Tommy John surgery.
Right. Yes, good
So,
call. The curse
5.
of the Cashman curse.
Acquired 5 pitchers from going back to last trade deadline. He acquired 5 pitchers. They're all going to miss significant time this at least to start the season.
Significant time too. That's crazy. It's almost impressive.
Don't when a girl breaks up with you and she says it's not you, it's me.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's you, Brian. Something you are doing is causing this to happen.
Yeah.
That all our pitchers are getting hurt. There's one guy, that he has put his hands on that has not gotten hurt. And I'm not going to mention his name. Not going to say it.
Don't say it.
Sure, you all know who he is. Why he is different, I don't know.
Oh, man. I don't know either. Not good.
Please, Brian, let the janitor acquire the pitchers. Anybody but you do the acquiring of pitching. We go out and get somebody. You're going to package deliver Torres. Great. I guarantee you, whoever the Yankees would bring in a deal like that would be hurt within 3 weeks.
Well, and remember that whole excuse the Yankees need to fire their training staff, all this. Didn't they end up like firing a bunch of guys or a bunch of people?
They just had a complete overhaul.
Yeah, and it's still
not even 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not working.
When you don't target, first of all, the initial problem is that they don't target guys with clean bills of health. Okay. And again, I'm not going to knock them for signing Carlos Rodon. I want Carlos Rodon. I still want Carlos. I'm still happy that he's here. You know, if it's going to be a couple weeks, a couple months, whatever, I still think the Yankees are going to win on that deal.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not going to put a damper on that. It is concerning though, because he had this injury kind of come up last year and he pitched through it. Right.
Why did he have to take a show me deal with the Giants last year? Right. He had injury concerns.
Right.
Tommy Canely himself is coming off of Tommy John. He had to rebuild his value with the Dodgers last year. Frankie Montas, you knew was fucking hurt when you traded for him. Now, Frankie Montas came out a couple days ago and he said some shit that he was like, oh, I knew I was hurt and I just kept it to myself because I wanted to prove myself with the Yankees. Look, Frankie, it's admirable that you would come out there and try to take Brian Cashman's back. But in reality, we all knew you were hurt when you were traded for. So that would mean to me that the general manager knew that you were hurt when you were traded for. And you're going to be like, oh, how did you know? Well, he was on a fucking pitch count in his first game because it was his first start coming off the IL. Right? Couldn't get a contract for some injury he had 10 years ago that nobody thinks is going to really affect him for another 5 or 6 years. What were the Yankees doctors? Did the Yankees doctors even see an MRI or an X-ray with this guy?
Who knows, man? Now, what worries me with Rodon, and correct me if I'm wrong, but remember Tanaka's first, bout with injury here. Was it his forearm that he pitched through?
Yeah, a partial tear in there, but he never needed the Tommy John.
Right, but what happened to his velocity?
Never really this. I mean, he was great. Don't get me wrong, but he was never. really
No,
that same
but
guy.
that first year when he first came to this team, there was nothing I really looked forward to more than sitting
It
down and
was
watching him pitch.
it was amazing. I remember the
That
day he got hurt.
splitter,
It was like
yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
I believe it was in Cleveland when he got hurt.
Not sure. That first injury, you think? Cleveland?
When they had
Oh,
to shut him
dude,
down after that.
that splitter, man, was such a nasty pitch. So that's what worries me with Rodon, because they are talking about he could pitch through it, but if he comes out and his velocity is dipped, then that is going to be a concern for me.
The out pitch is really the slider. So I mean, as long as he's still
Okay.
94-ish with that break, he should be okay.
Yeah, just that's complemented so well with the velocity that he has.
Hey, you know what, dude? I don't know what to say anymore about this, because it's just like every year it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
I know, man.
Anthony Rizzo missed the game now with the back's already acting up. We knew this was going to be a problem, but you were hoping that it wasn't going to be a problem until like fucking July.
Yeah, at least get
Once it started, the dog days were starting to kick in. Not already, It's team is. I love this team. I really do. I'm not saying this particular team. I'm just saying this team, the Yankees. This is my team, right? But it's hard to, outside of the guys that take the field every night, it's hard to feel anything for them, because this organization is it's garbage. It's absolute garbage, this organization. I'm sorry. Because they think that we're fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's kind of how they've been playing it, dude.
This is, I really wonder, if you did not hear this, if you didn't hear this, you hear this, and I really hope my audio comes in clearly here.
Okay.
Because this is amazing that the assistant general manager would actually say this. So I got to scroll up a couple days here.
Okay. Scroll. Okay, you gotta scroll through.
Oh, this was behind the paywall. So I don't know exactly what she's referring to. I believe it was I do believe, though, it was the Montas deal.
Mm-hmm.
This is Yankees assistant GM Gene Afterman to Joel Sherman. She says, "There's a lot more information that if you're a fan, you wouldn't have. Nobody wants to see how a sausage is made. They just enjoy the sausage. There are so many things that have to be considered in every single decision he," meaning Brian Cashman, "makes. Also, we live in a lazy society. People don't want to look back and review his entire history. We live in an era of immediate gratification. Right now, unfortunately, the immediate gratification is to criticize and boo. They booed the freaking MVP, Aaron Judge, in the postseason. I mean, for 60 years, he did something that nobody had done. So now instant gratification is booing. That's the world we live in. People are looking at one decision in isolation. It's crazy."
But Afterman's doing the exact same thing, looking at one situation by pointing out the whole Aaron Judge thing. He hasn't done it in 60 years, and he was booed. That's one instance. And it's like enough of this sort of dialogue, this excuse-ridden dialogue.
A point, Gene. You really did with the booing of Aaron Judge. I don't care if it was one person, 10 people, 1,000 people. Aaron Judge, if it was ever a postseason where he was allowed, I guess, if you want to use that word,
mm-hmm.
to have a bad postseason, it would have been this one. He carried this team on his back. He carried them on his back, and he deserved that grace period. He really did.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees don't. Granted, they got embarrassed, swept. Yankees aren't in the ALCS, in a position to go to the ALCS without Aaron Judge.
No.
So if there's ever a year where the fans should just get off his ass and let him be, and if he has a rough postseason, so be it, it would be this one. Now, everything else you said was utter bullshit. And it's what you said, Ryan. It's excuse-ridden nonsense. This team, this front office will not take accountability for anything. You made the trade, Brian. We didn't make the trade. What data are you talking about? What data did you see that we're too stupid to understand? What data is it? Is it the data that people told you Joey Gallo would be a fucking disaster in New York because he couldn't handle it? He was just not he was not built for this place, but you made the deal anyway. Is that data? Is that the data?
And I'm sorry, but this is a performance-based industry that I am gonna look at the instant gratification side of things, but I'm not even talking about instant. You look at since 2009, this has been an issue. That's not a short period of time, especially for the Yankees, especially for a franchise that hadn't not made it to a World Series in a decade. In the stretch of a 10-year period, the Yankees had been in the World Series every single year, every single decade since 1920, or even if we want to go back to the early 1900s. Every 10 years, they were in the World Series.
Analogy of it. Nobody wants to see how the sausage is made. Gene, when's the last time you made the sausage?
Right.
Last time you made dinner. You put dinner on the table. You made us a nice sausage dinner. When's the last time we've had that? 2009. We have not come close.
Getting fucking spam for the last almost 15 years.
Give me a break. Take accountability for what you've done. You have not built this team to be a championship contender. You built this team to be good. You built this team to make the postseason. You have not built this team to be a championship contender. Take accountability for that. Stop blaming the fans. We don't make the trades. Don't tell me that you feel the pressure that you got to do something, and then you make the wrong move and then blame the fan base. Everybody wanted Luis Castillo. You wouldn't part with these guys. Then you're going to use the propaganda machine on Yes to gaslight us into thinking that Volpe and Dominguez aren't ready. Okay. And was it Cone on Saturday? They're having an entire conversation while Jasson Dominguez is up. He's not ready. He didn't have this, blah, 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 COVID, this, that, and the other fucking thing. Meanwhile, the words aren't even out of their fucking fat mouths yet, and Dominguez parks one 400 feet. Who's not ready?
Yeah, ready for what?
Give me a break. To be insulted, okay? And the one thing that I love more than anything, obviously not taking my family into account here, but the one thing I love more than anything is the Yankees. And you insult my intelligence by the things that you say. You want us to come through the turnstiles 4 million times and line your pockets with gold. Take accountability for what you've done. Oh, nobody wants to see how the sausage. Show me. Show me. I'll sit in a fucking room with you. I'll sit in the room with you and see how the sausage is made.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's a long list, man. It goes back a while because you had the booing, then it was because Benintendi and LeMahieu were out. You go back to 17. They had that stolen from them, which I mean, I see it kind of, but the words that Cashman used
now.
Yeah, it's just another excuse now. It's just like, how many of these are we gonna do before it's just like, wait a second, am I the problem? Do I need to take responsibility? Can I just admit that I didn't do a great job with some of these moves?
This one line again. Don't want to go back and look and review his entire history. Yankees since 1986. 1986. He's been the general manager of this team now for 25 years. Do you still want a fucking bouquet because you traded for David Justice in the year 2000?
Yeah, I mean, really.
I mean, seriously now. Instant gratification. It held the reins to this organization since 2016. How far back am I allowed to go?
I don't know, man, but we do have another super chat. It's kind of back on the Dominguez topic, but we'll get to it here. We got from Nicholas Truesdell. Says, play the effing Martian. People say he's not ready, and Hicks is GTFOH, which, you know, it's an
Yeah,
acronym.
if Chris was here, we'd have to
Yeah.
drop.
Tatis, yeah. Tatis and Soto never played AAA. If Dominguez and Volpe don't make the team, the Yankees are not a serious team. I'm getting mad. F that.
I mean, you should be mad.
Yeah,
Be
get
about.
mad.
I mean, you should be mad about a lot of things.
Thank you for the super chat, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go back and review his entire history, Ryan. If you had a job for 25 years, but you haven't been good at it in 10 years, and let you go,
And it's
what would you say?
performance-based.
What would you say, Ryan? Oh, I was
Yeah.
top salesman in 1999, but I
Yeah.
didn't sell shit in the last 6 years. Please keep me.
Yeah, I sold the most cars in 97. All right, but you've sold 4 cars. You sold 4 cars last year.
I understand it, Gene. You're trying to stick up for your boss. You know,
Right.
you got mouths to feed, right? How about just
Mhm.
don't say anything?
Yeah. I think that that's a page in the Yankees need to take from that playbook. Let's just not, if you're not going to take accountability, then don't say anything. You can say it with the players, with who's that? Michael King made those comments with Joey Gallo in the locker room, and how, you know, moving these guys really affected the locker room. Just don't say anything.
Sick and tired of the way this organization doesn't take accountability for what happens.
And look at what happens when you don't take accountability. You get eaten alive by the New York media.
And I wish that would happen, but they're all trying to get up each other's ass in the
Yeah,
media.
no,
The media is not what
Yankee
it wants.
media. Yeah, you know what? That's fair, and I shouldn't even say that, because I don't even really necessarily listen to those guys as much anymore. I don't really get into sports radio as much as I used to. But yeah, I mean, it's at least at Yankeeville too, especially they're pushing, you know, that everything's good,
All the
everything
beat
is fine.
writers now, they don't challenge anything. They don't, you know,
Yeah,
Boone
you're
says
right,
something,
man.
they're just like, okay, Aaron, what time are we coming over for popcorn and Kool-Aid later?
Mhm.
You know, people can rip on Mike Francesa all they want. Mike held
Okay.
it when Mike had somebody on his show, he held their feet to the fire. Why'd you do this? And then they would say anything, okay, well, that's stupid. That's
Yeah.
why I take great responsibility with this show, and I take great responsibility being on this channel, because I think we're all like-minded in that same way. Where we have to be the ones to hold this organization accountable, because nobody else is doing it. Everybody, I don't want to knock other podcasts, but you know, you listen to them and they're all like, "Oh, everything's okay. Let's light candles and eat marshmallows," you know, because they want to have this guy come on their show. They want to be liked.
Right.
They're
They're
employed
employed by
everybody
the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Oh, please. It doesn't make you any less of a fan to call out the nonsense. If a trade sucks, say it. You're
Yeah.
offended by something that the front office said because they think you're stupid, say it. We didn't build this platform to sit here and say everything is fine and everything is rosy, because it's not.
No, it's not.
And when
They
it
have
is,
nothing
when
to
the
show
Yankees
for it.
are when the Yankees are playing well, you know, like they were rolling last year, go back and listen to the tapes. The archives are there. Go back and listen to them when the Yankees were the best team in baseball for the first 2.5, 3 months, and they were being compared to the 98 team. We didn't have anything bad to say. We don't go looking for bad shit to say.
No.
Oh, you guys are too negative. No, we're not. If you think we're too negative, is because you have your head shoved up your ass, and you don't want to look at what's really happening out here.
Right. And we do have another super chat. This one
Okay.
seems pretty important. Again, from Nicholas Truesdell.
Hey, Nick, okay.
It says, Boone is Cashman's butt plug. It's his butt plug.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, stay in there.
Interesting
Okay.
choice of words. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he had to get I guess there's sensors on there. He spelt butt plug with a lot of spaces in between to make sure we saw what he was talking about. So thank you, Nicholas Truesdell.
Shouldn't be okay with the assistant GM saying that you're lazy and stupid.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
really.
be okay with that. You shouldn't be okay with the fact that we haven't won a World Series since 2009, and that, you know, the general manager doesn't take accountability for the fact that he doesn't do his job properly. Think about this, Ryan. Last year, Aaron Boone came back. He was the first man. I say this all the time, and people might get sick and tired of me saying this, but it just tells you where we're at. In the entire history of the New York Yankees, going back to 1903, not one single manager stepped foot in that dugout to manage a fifth season without previously winning a World Series for the franchise. Until Aaron Boone came along.
There you go. I mean, if that's not the perfect example of where this franchise is, and I really don't know what is.
What are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to sit here and use our platform. We're going to speak out against it. And hopefully, we get people to really pay attention and listen. And say, hey, you know what? Enough with the gaslighting. Enough with this nonsense.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we're going to go out to Yankee Stadium, obviously. I'm not going to deprive myself of that type of joy. I love going to Yankee Stadium.
Sure.
But you can bet your ass, though, every Monday night when I sit down and record, if this type of shit's still going on, I'm going to speak out against it. I lived too long and seen enough, too much baseball that you should be okay with this. This should be an outrage. Every single Yankee, excuse me, every single Yankee fan that should have read that should have been outraged by it. That's what the front office thinks of you.
Yeah. Should we wear shirts to the stadium like I'm with lazy and I'm with stupid?
Yeah.
Ooh, we got another one from Truesdell. Low key becoming my favorite NYY news show. You guys don't hold back and speak the truth. Takes courage, but you're right on every point, every single one. He didn't say that last part, but I did.
Right,
but yeah, thank you, and I appreciate the kind words. Very nice.
Back in this show has been going on since 2017. We picked up somewhere after I would say probably after the All-Star break in 2017. We started.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had if you want to go through the guys that have covered the team prominently for the last 5-6 years, in the first year or so, first 2 years, we had them all on. Talked to every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they stopped coming on. And then we just decided that we weren't even going to ask for guests anymore. Yeah. I would rather be true to who I am and my feelings and the way I feel about this ball club than talk to Jack Curry again. And that's no disrespect to Jack Curry.
No, it's not. It's just like, how much of this narrative are we going to hear before we realize that maybe this is being pushed a little bit in one direction, a favoring direction for the franchise?
Think about that, guys. Anybody that wants to sit here, and we'll close out the show going back to where we started. Anybody that wants to sit here and tell you that Jasson Dominguez isn't ready, you're brainwashed. Because the Yankees want you to think that Aaron Hicks can come back and be a representative player this year. Not going to happen. I'll root for it to happen. Shit, if he's going to be in the lineup, I'm going to root for him.
Sure, absolutely. And don't forget that part of this here. We might, speak negatively on all of this, but at the end of the day, we want the same thing. For this team to win a World Series.
And there was nothing that would bring me greater joy than seeing Aaron Hicks win a World Series MVP for the Yankees. Honest to God.
Same here. I'll go buy his jersey.
Get him a free round of Topgolf. And I'll donate one to charity too.
Look at that.
Take the kids.
Talk about incentive.
But I have no faith in it happening. I've seen enough of Aaron Hicks now. He's had one good year in the major leagues. And again, the thing that scares you about it, that should scare you about Aaron Hicks, he was healthy last year. He was healthy.
Yeah, that's funny. It should scare you that he was healthy.
And that's how bad he was.
Right. Oh,
Donaldson,
boy.
What happened?
Nothing. I'm just like, oh, that's a lot, man. We decompress on this. It's very therapeutic. And then I like hearing your thoughts on everything because you really, you put it all out there and you really break everything down nicely and it creates a nice dialogue, but it just makes me more frustrated.
Wash Donaldson yesterday, I saw a quote from him, said that if he thought he was really washed, he'd retire. The only reason why you haven't retired and the reason why the Yankees are still going to play you is $25 million.
Come on, man.
I love I honestly, I do. I love fans that want to feel optimism. Donaldson comeback season. Fine. But be realistic about it. It's not going to happen. I mean, dollars to donuts is probably not. The guy's been in decline for the past few years. Did you think he was going to fall that sharply off a cliff last year? No.
Nah,
And the same thing with Aaron Hicks, man. Aaron Hicks was healthy, and he was that bad. He was that bad healthy.
Right. And don't forget, too, Donaldson. I'd say if there was one offensive person who really cost them in the postseason last year, it was Donaldson, because he came up in so many situations where he could have done something. And then his base running blunders on top of that. He was a big detriment to this team last year.
Had an autographed baseball of his right now for 75% off.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Take it. Take the deal.
Deal.
Worth a little.
It's just, please, guys, we're not saying you have to agree with everything, but just, open your ears a little bit. Don't listen to the Yankees the Yankees run the Yes Network. So what you hear is what they want you to hear. Michael Kay is not some some hard stance reporter. He takes those hard lines on his radio show, and then he plays company boy on the Yes Network, which is why I don't respect him. Honestly, it's why I don't respect him.
That's why I stopped respecting him.
You can't have it both ways. You can't. You can't go out there and rip Aaron Boone and then ask him what his favorite flavor of bubblegum is during an in-game interview. Like, you just can't have it. Oh, that's what I said, dude. I don't care if I never have another guest on this show, and I'm pretty sure Chris feels the same way.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak to you, but
No,
I
agree. I'd rather
I would rather have this show be our accurate representation of how we feel about this ball club than talk to people.
Right. Yeah, and just be a Yankee positivist. I'm not.
Oh, well, you guys didn't know. You guys, you have somebody come on here and say, well, you guys don't know. We have data. Yeah, great. I don't care about your data.
Yeah, what's the data on the fucking Tampa Bay Rays and what they have done? I mean, they literally just spent the most money they've ever spent in their franchise's history this year on a player. This is the first year they're paying somebody, and it's not even that much. What is this guy's deal? $40 million, 3-year contract. So that's their highest paid player in franchise history. And look how much better this is. Eflin, the pitcher. And look at how great this franchise has been. It's the excuses, man. Look at what this team is and the excuses that they present.
Hey, Brian, that the end of the season press conference when you don't win, this is all you have to say. I'm the general manager. It's my job to make sure this team is in the best position possible to win a World Series, and I didn't do it.
Right. They somehow developed the mantra that it's not World Series or bust, where it needs to be that way when you're a franchise like the Yankees. There was a great interview with Derek Jeter. It was at it looked like an Inside the Actor studio type thing, but it's him and this guy, and he's basically saying, I was never satisfied, or I wasn't happy until it was over, until we won it all. It's not there anymore. That mentality, and that was the mentality that drove them in the 90s.
I mean, you're not wrong, bro. It's a different era now. George isn't here. Jorge Posada's not here. These guys, Bernie Williams, Andy Pettitte, Joe Torre, it's different. And I want to believe that Aaron Judge has got that in him. I want to believe that Garrett Cole's got that in him. But at the same time, they're not being led by men. They're just not.
Right. There's not a strong presence ahead of them that is alleviating those unnecessary stresses, and it's causing kind of a spiral effect somehow to their play. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? But we do hope to see you guys in the Audi Club on April 1st for NYY News TV Day 2023. If you haven't gotten your tickets, they're not going to last much longer.
No, okay? Get them now. Get them while you can.
Okay. If you go there, for $20, Ryan will do a personalized impersonation for you.
Absolutely. We'll do a live cameo.
live cameo. All right?
Yeah.
You can
$20.
one of his impersonations likes to watch.
Yeah.
You know, you can watch.
Yeah, I do. I do like to watch. I might be watching the World Baseball Classic. It's Cuck Show over here. I'll be watching World Baseball Classic at 10. Team USA. Might as well call them New York Mets. All right, we got to step up, McNeil. Oh, Alonzo, I haven't really liked what I've seen from those two. They got to play a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, just we don't have to talk a ton about the World Baseball Classic, but I mean, I don't want Garrett Cole pitching in the World Baseball Classic. I'll just be honest with you, but I mean,
Right.
if guys like him and Verlander and Scherzer and these guys are not going to, I mean, who Martinez, I think was the
Yeah,
was their
Adam
number.
Wainwright was their game one starter. Yeah, the bullpen's not the greatest. Their pitching is really not that good.
I mean, they barely. I mean, the final was 6-2, but they had more than they wanted from fucking Great Britain.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they didn't look
Mexico
that great.
And Mexico walloped them last night. Who are they playing tonight? Canada?
Yes,
Okay.
and if they lose this one, they're pretty much done. Even if they win out, there's still a possibility that they don't advance to that next
run
round.
differential or something.
Yeah, by per out or something. I don't.
Yeah,
it's like a weird rule. But I don't know if they really beat up on Canada tonight, then they'll be fine. But who knows?
All right. So we want you to go to patreon.com/NYYST. The last two Patreon shows are unlocked for free. Patreon preview there. Okay. So go check them out. I mean, if you want to win a free replica Yankees jersey, okay, if you want that, if that's something that you desire, you're going to have to check out one of those two videos on how to win said jersey. Okay. And also follow us on Twitter at NYYST_podcast. So next week is the big show. I hope Chris gets his calendar clear because next week, Fred is back.
Pumped.
Goddamn camera. And I really hope that all the technical difficulties are gone next week.
Yeah, they'll be gone. Storm will be past.
So if you're a new viewer, watcher of NYYST, what Fred is the drunk that comes up with the projected stats that you see on Baseball Reference. We're going to go through the Yankees team, and we're going to pick a stat out for pretty much each player, and we're going to do an over-under on that stat. It's one of our favorite shows of every year. So Fred's projections are back. That's next week's show. 2 weeks will be our season preview, and then it'll be baseball. The New York Yankees will be back. So hopefully all this nonsense, all this garbage that we get aggravated about will be behind us, and we can get aggravated about Aaron Boone pulling Garrett Cole in the 6th inning of a game where he has 88 pitches. That's the type of shit I want to get mad at.
Yes.
Not this other stuff.
Dude, I think my computer is on its last legs here. I think I'm going to crash out of here any second.
Well, good thing that we're done here. So we want to thank you for your continued support of NYYST and NYY News TV. If you're still in the chat, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. Once again, thank you for listening and watching episode 323 of the NYYST podcast. Ryan, you're the last voice today, so
go Yanks. Peace!
Before it hits the front page.